Well, lots of news tonight about the Vikings, but the Timberwolves.
Well, they went for another win. I tell you,
they tried.
You hear all this stuff about Musselman and so forth. I don't see how anybody could have done a better job. He's done a great job. Timberwolves looking to tie their high water mark for wins tonight, hoping to get win number 22 in the season. Houston in town. We go to some highlights. Tony Campbell, there's a guy who's steady night after night. He had 32 points. Good feed there from Scott Brooks. Akeem Olajuwon has been awesome since returning from that injury. Tonight he had 25 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 blocks. Almost a triple-double as we check the final score. Houston winning it going away. New York over Charlotte. Atlanta a win. Milwaukee over Miami. San Antonio beat Sacramento by 3. Well, the big question from last night's heavyweight boxing fiasco in Las Vegas was Razor Ruddock finished when Mike Tyson hit him in the 7th round to force that TKO at 2:22 of the round. We can only show you still pictures of the final moments, but after watching videotape several times, it appears to me at least Ruddock was definitely able to continue when the referee stepped in to end the fight. Now this smacks of more Don King tampering. If you remember Tyson's loss to Buster Douglas, King blamed the referee in Tokyo for not ending the fight when Tyson had decked Douglas earlier in the bout. Here are some post-fight comments.
You expect to get hit, you expect to go down, and you expect to get up, and you expect to fight again. And that's exactly what I do. But I think that Richard Steele should give us the benefit of the doubt and let the fight go on and let we at least go on in style if he's going to be going that way.
I wanted to beat him bad. I wanted to dominate him because I didn't want to have any doubt in his mind that he could beat me. But beating him like I did slowly, getting him a slow beating him, stopping him like that, he had no doubt. Maybe everybody else could play, but he knows in his mind he could never beat me.
And we'll never hear the end of that, I guess. As we now know, Bo Jackson no longer knows the Kansas City Royals. The gifted athlete had really been quite a find for the Royals, and Bo was getting better every year offensively and defensively. However, that hip injury suffered while the LA Raiders were beating Cincinnati in the playoffs will force Bo from football, may keep him out most of the baseball season. The Kansas City Royals then released him unconditionally, bringing Bo to say this.
I knew that it was going to happen someday. I didn't think that I would finish my career with the Royals. That's not my plan. The tears are because I'm leaving so many good friends.
By the way, Bo also says that he would like to play with Kirby Puckett. Interesting note for the future. The Twins lost again big time to the Pittsburgh Pirates for the second straight day. We go to the scoreboard. Pittsburgh winning at 6-0. Willie Banks giving up 6 hits and 4 runs, not helping his cause. Steve Bedrosian, though, perfect in 3 innings. The Twins are now 10-3-1. Tomorrow it'll be the Texas Rangers at Fort Myers. The big news in hockey tonight, Brett Hull for St. Louis, his 80th goal, only the 3rd player in the NHL to score 80 goals as St. Louis beat Washington 2-1.
On a Tyson rematch, who decides if that's going to be redone?
Well, money and Don King. It's a very political situation. It's going to lead to a rematch. But they're going to have to wait for Foreman and Holyfield, and then there'll be a rematch, and then the winner will probably go against that.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Well, a Twin Cities restaurant owner keeps her promise to a saint.
More on that in a second, but first a preview to KARE 11 News Sunrise.
We have heard some big fish stories on Minnesota Bound, and this has got to be one of the biggest.
This is, I tell you, it makes my 18-pound lake trout seem puny.
Yeah.
Yes, today on Minnesota Bound, our recreation report, we're going to feature the following stories. Can you imagine catching a 400-pound fish? We will see the fish and meet the guy who landed it. Mississippi River fishing has been going on all winter in certain spots. We're going to check in on that activity as well. And yes, golf is here, or at least trying to be here if the weather cooperates. Okay, now for a fish story to end all fish stories. Let's take a look at James Lundberg and his wife posing with James' 400-pound sawfish he caught earlier this week off the Florida Keys. The fish is 12 feet 7 inches long. It is related to the shark family. It has a lot of sharp teeth, and the bait was a 2.5-pound kingfish chopped up in big pieces. It is costing $2,000 to have it mounted, and Mr. Lundberg still hasn't figured out a way to get it back to Minneapolis. He describes the catch.
We got a glimpse of it because we got it up to the boat fairly early. But then the fish dove down again, and it, as I said, it took an hour to get it back up. So we knew what we were battling, and we knew it was a heavy fish. And we were only had a 50-pound test line. Wow. So it was touch and go. We had to play it just very carefully.
Boy, what a story. Meanwhile, back in the home waters of the Mississippi, we found plenty of fishermen on the water at pool number 3 just below the Hastings Dam. There are spots on the Mississippi you can fish for walleyes all year round, but you'd better check with the DNR to find out the precise places. Well, earlier this week on Monday and Tuesday, word got around that a few golf courses opened for play, so we found a sparse number of golfers on the Parkview course in Eagan. They do not allow spike shoes this early, but every year the Parkview course is among the first to open. I played there last April, and the conditions were pretty good. And when the weather is dry out there this time of year, you get a lot of roll on that ball. Then we took a run to the Brookview Golf Course in Golden Valley, which lies in waiting for golfers to begin playing after a full one-year playoff. Last year, 15 of their 18 greens suffered terrible winter kill, so they rebuilt 15 greens and are now waiting for the right conditions to reopen. The course is owned by the city of Golden Valley, and the course people hope to be open by at least the second week in April. By the way, the weather looks this weekend, we're all going to have to wait for golf a little bit longer. It looks pretty bad. Coming up on Monday on Minnesota Bound, it is tune-up time for bikers. We'll take you to a local bike shop to show you the how and why it's important to get your bike ready for the warmer weather. That's Bike Tune-Ups, Monday here on Minnesota Bound. I still can't get over that 400-pound fish, so that's just unbelievable.
What a fish story, huh?
How can you top it? You can't.
You can't.
Not that one. Thanks, Tom.
The Gophers are still alive, but they've had better starts.
They tell me Maine is lovely this time of year, but not for the Gophers. The Gophers headed into the Black Bears' den at the University of Maine as the road to the NCAA tournament takes some strange turns. Action now from the best 2 out of 3 event. Maine head coach Sean Walsh served his one-game NCAA suspension way in the upper deck there above a hot dog stand, but his team looked good on the ice. Maine was on the power play 8 times. They scored 3 goals with the extra man. Jean-Yves Roy scores here as Maine wins it 4-0, take a 1-0 lead in the best-of-3 series. As we check the scores, there's the score, 4-0. Northern Michigan, a winner over Alaska Anchorage. Boston U beat Michigan, and Clarkson over Lake Superior State. Now to the NHL, the North Stars at Washington. One of those nights for John Casey. Kalle Johansson scores on a fluke from 75 feet away. Stars never recovered. Brian Propp scores the Stars' lone goal in the third, but not enough. Washington wins it. We go to the scoreboard, 3-1 the final. Toronto won their game over Detroit. Damian Rhodes gets the win for Toronto. He is from Richfield. Nice debut for the local guy. The Timberwolves, they're also in the sports picture tonight. They hosted the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Target Center. Now watch Todd Murphy worked the reverse layup during a 12-5 fourth quarter run on the Cavaliers. The Wolves won their 22nd game tonight, equaling their win total for all of last season. Tony Campbell with 30, 22 in the second half. The final 110-105. 16 games left in the season. There's the score posted for you right there. Indiana posting a win. San Antonio over Miami. Philadelphia over Chicago. Detroit beat New Jersey. Washington over Atlanta, and Dallas in OT over New York by a couple of points. Now to the NCAA basketball tournament, the Midwest Regional, Ohio State and St. John's tonight. And Ohio State became the first #1 seed to be ousted from the tournament. Chucky Sproling with a jam for St. John's. Ohio State and the Big Ten are now eliminated from the NCAA tournament. As we go to the scoreboard and see that final score, 91-74. Duke is leading Connecticut in the second. North Carolina rolling over Eastern Michigan. And Temple and Oklahoma State in the East are having a real shootout in the second half. The Boys State basketball tournament moved into semifinal play today and tonight. Class A this afternoon and Double A this evening. Mounds View taking on Roosevelt in tonight's opener. Roosevelt came back after Mounds View went on a 15-0 run. Wayne Charles with a follow-up bucket right there. Mounds View trailed by 1 with time running out. But Dusty Becker's last-second shot missed, and Roosevelt wins it to reach the Double A final. We go to the scoreboard, a close one, 40-39, and right now in the second half, Cretin-Derham Hall is leading Mankato West by 8 points. The game close most of the way in that contest. Cretin likes to get that ball inside like this. Matt McDonough, good feed to Josh Krieger. He pops it in, and we just told you the score, Cretin-Derham Hall leading by 8 in the second half. Now in Class A, Chisholm shot down Becker by 30 points, 86-56. Joel McDonald with 30. 3 of them coming right there. Ted Cries led the way with 36, though, and the Blue Streaks' big win as we check the Class A scores, 86-56, and we have Westbrook Walnut Grove over Dawson Boyd, 80-66. Now, in that win, watch this great shot by Jewel Erickson. He hits from just inside the mid-court line as the first quarter ended, and that ties the game and sparked Westbrook Walnut Grove to that 80-66 win. Well, David Wheaton has found his way to the finals of the $2.25 million Lipton International Tennis event. That's near Miami. David won perhaps his biggest match. You better keep wearing that hat. He's been playing great tennis while he's wearing that hat as he defeated Stefan Edberg of Sweden convincingly 6-3 and 6-4. David is ranked 46th in the world and will take a big jump in the rankings because of his play in this tournament. He plays for the title Sunday against Jim Courier. Couple of notes right now. The Minnesota Twins lost to Baltimore 3-1 today. The hitting seems to be slowing down a bit for the Twins. They are now 11-5-1 this spring, and they will play Texas at Port Charlotte tomorrow. No major league teams have claimed Bo Jackson, whose hip injury is apparently a big risk factor. And one final note, the World League of American Football begins tomorrow with 3 games. Really, it is a minor league offshoot of the NFL to help develop marginal players. But they have a national TV contract. Mike Lynn is the president. So they have some big-time things going for them.
New York was supposed to claim him, right? Bo Jackson.
They had 6 doctors look at the injury on x-rays, and they said, forget it.
Forget it.
All right. Well, the North Stars had another big game tonight. They're playing well.
Boy,
But they've played some tough teams lately.
20 years ago, when I came to town, the first thing I went to was a North Star Blues game out at the Met. And this is the way they used to play them. It really was great. It was like a typical North Star St. Louis matchup from years gone by, a real shootout at the Met as we check some game action right now. In the second period, the North Stars used the power play to tie the game at 3. The score from Brian Propp, the North Stars with a red-hot power play tonight. They had 3. In the third period, the Stars jumped up 4-3. Brian Bellows, 33rd of the year. Look at that scramble out in front, and he did score. The Blues came back to tie it. Brett Hull, his second of the night, 83rd of the season. Score tied at 4. Here's the game winner, though, from Rob Brindamore past John Casey. The Stars' unbeaten string ends at 13 at the Met. As for Brett Hull, what else can you do this season?
Well, 92 is out of reach, but I think, to be able to maybe tie or beat Mario's 85 would be something special for me.
He's something special, I'll tell you. We go to the scoreboard. A crowd of about 10,000 tonight. The Blues winning, ending the 13-game unbeaten string for the North Stars. Montreal over Hartford in OT. Well, the Vikings can forget about all-pro safety Ronnie Lott. He signed a 2-year, $2 million deal with the L.A. Raiders today. Tonight, we honor our final Winter Sports Athletes of the Week and our first Spring Sports Star, and Randy Shaver has their stories. All right, let's go to the NBA scoreboard on the night. Orlando over Golden State, Washington a winner, Houston over Chicago, and in the NIT basketball tournament, Stanford defeated Massachusetts, and Oklahoma is leading Colorado in the second. The Twins hammered the Blue Jays today by a score of 18-4. Very quickly, the scoreboard, 18-4, 21 hits. Chili Davis, a couple of home runs, also home runs by Larkin, Leas, and Sorrento. Morris the win. The Twins will play the New York Mets at Fort Myers. And yes, there will be a rematch. Mike Tyson and Razor Ruddock in June in Las Vegas.
What a surprise.
Oh, boy, I'm shocked, aren't you?
I really am. Thanks, Tom.
Hello again, everybody. Well, as we mentioned earlier on Sunrise, the Gopher Men's Athletic Department receives its long-awaited sentence from the NCAA Infractions Committee later today. The ruling could include television sanctions, a cut in scholarships, maybe even a ban from postseason play. But Athletic Director Rick Bay is just glad that this saga is finally coming to an end.
Well, it's good to have it coming to an end, but I really haven't been preoccupied with it lately. It's something I had no control over, so just waiting for the announcement, and we'll go from there.
As we mentioned last night, if the ruling is really severe, then there would be a possibility the Gophers would lose Clem Haskins as their coach, and as we told you last night, look for Bob Huggins, the coach at the University of Cincinnati, to come in and take his place, although the university wants Haskins to stay. Well, now to the Timberwolves. They played at Phoenix last night looking to end their winless skid against the Suns. They didn't do it. Phoenix, one of 4 teams the Wolves have never beaten in the NBA. As we go to some game action now, not a lot of bright spots for Minnesota. Here's one of them. Pooh Richardson, a long last-second shot to end the first quarter. But Phoenix still led 33-18. Now watch this play coming up now. Will end in a basket by Kevin Johnson. who moves with cat-like precision. This is not so cat-like, though. Look at that. Throw it up there. Went in anyway. 117-95 the score as we go to the scoreboard. The Suns are tough, especially for the Timberwolves. Indiana over Atlanta. Miami beat Cleveland. Charlotte over Golden State. New Jersey a winner in overtime. San Antonio a winner overtime. And there's the final from out west between Seattle and Portland. In hockey, the North Stars have just 3 games left in their regular season schedule. They'll be at Los Angeles tomorrow night. Last night, the Kings took on Edmonton as we check the scoreboard. And there's the final in that game from way out west. Other finals, Chicago and Toronto, that ended in a 2-all tie. Boston over Quebec. Buffalo beat Washington. New Jersey and the Rangers tied. And we have Pittsburgh beating Philadelphia. Lemieux, the hat trick for Pittsburgh. And there's another score from out west, the final between Vancouver and Calgary. Before long, we'll be seeing greyhound racing coming into our area with the opening of St. Croix Meadows in Hudson, Wisconsin this spring. But in the meantime, check out this dog racing action from Australia, no less. This is the Supercoat Pet Care Classic in Australia. Everything going okay at the start, but watch what happens when the dogs get into turn 1. Red Star Rocket takes a tumble as we watch the action. He will get turned around, and Red Star Rocket winds up going the wrong way, which means he eventually would meet up with the rest of the pack down the lane a bit. A near collision, look out! But Red Star Rocket forces the judges to rule no race, and the $80,000 in prize money was split between all the dogs' owners. And a final note, the Twins host Philadelphia today at spring training in Fort Myers. Their record now 14-6-1 after losing to the New York Mets 3-2 yesterday in 10 innings. And that is going to do it for sports. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.
Okay, Tom, sunrise.